Hello, my name is Robert Davis, and I come here today to start a revolution. Oh, don't get me wrong, it's going to be completely nonviolent. It has to do with how we're going to start dealing with one another. I offer you a $100 trillion new economic business plan to get America back running. Years ago, when I was having some trouble, we were told that when you have trouble, you must go to the beginning of the rope to find out what the problem is. We'd have to go to the very beginning of time I began with this problem. For example, a man once said, "Am I my brother's keeper?" And I will answer, yes, we are our brother's keeper. And by being our brother's keeper, things are going to start changing in America for the good, for once and for all. I've also been told that if they divided all the assets in a very few years, they'd all be back in the hands of a very few people again. Look up the year of Jubilee, and you'll find out about it. In 1968, I took an economics course. And at that time, I was never so shocked to find out that 85% of the capital in America was in the hands of 15% of the people. I didn't think that seemed right. However, at that time, I had a job. I was a high school graduate. I was working on a college degree at night. I refused to work overtime. Okay, my wife worked in the home. Okay, we were buying a house. We had a nice car. We also took vacations every year, and all of our needs were provided. And at the end of that rainbow, we had a pension coming. Fast forward today, 90% of the assets are in the hands of 10% of the population. Okay, it's beginning to present problems such as college graduates who spend $100,000 in tuition to go to school, and also $100,000 in not working while going to school, end up $200,000, let's say, in the hole and can't find a job. That's wrong. A lot of them even have to come home and live in their family's basement and things like this. I think the biggest problem we have in America is 14 million Americans are unemployed and many other are underemployed. You hear the politicians that their biggest cry is saying the biggest problem is the national debt and the deficit. I don't buy that. I think the biggest problem we go to the beginning of that rope was when we allowed them to pass CAFTA, NAFTA, and etc. And they keep passing more and more, which allows these corporations to take our jobs overseas, manufacture these items at a cost of what it would be with American labor in it, and then bring them back and sell them at the same, basically the same retail cost as if it had been made in America. That's wrong. I say that we're going to start changing that. A man named Zig Ziglar once said, if you want someone to buy from you, you should be willing to give that person what they want. They're not doing that now. Because as American, I would say, well, what I want and what does American people want? We want jobs. We don't want the jobs that probably a lot of these corporations would like to give you, like a $3 an hour job or whatever, and still have you still trying to buy things because costs aren't coming down as they should. Okay, I recommend that we have a new treaty. And just to give it a name, I would say, let's say we'll call it the Davis Treaty. And the way that it will work is that what we'll do is we'll use stimulus money, we'll use state money, and we'll use federal money to go in there. You see all these plants that are empty? To start reopening these plants. We'll use entrepreneurship to start changing this around. What we will do is use these people that are already experienced at making shoes, making clothes, making TVs, making washers and dryers and things of this nature. And what we'll do is we'll redo these factories, and we'll start going to retailers. Every time we see them, we'll tell them that, hey, this is not made in America. We want you to find us an American-made product. And then to help them, as we begin to get these factories online, we'll see more and more American products in there. And if we can make it in America until we get to full employment, then we won't be buying other things from other countries. And that's something they cannot control. Okay? I can now begin to see with this plan us having full employment. By having full employment, I begin to remember and think about like the unions. Unions are a good thing. They've always been a good thing. But I think now the unions are maybe, let's say, 10% of the workforce. My objective is that we turn that into like 90% so that everyone is part of my new union. We'll call it Union for Everyone. And what our goal will be is to make sure that everyone gets a living wage. Everyone gets a fair shake. And that we can begin to see everyone being able to get a job just like that I had back in 1968. Okay? Working together is going to mean that we're going to be able to do things such as spread that extra profit that's now going overseas and they're bringing back and charging and keeping that extra profit. We'll spread that amongst the people that are working in those factories. They will also be able to do some profit sharing. They will also be able to have pensions. And then we'll be able to pay taxes once we're making that living wage. That'll be good because that'll begin to shrink that deficit, etc. And the other thing I'd say is that as a worker, once we're able to make enough income to be able to pay the tax, we will gladly pay those taxes. Unlike the ones that say, we want to make more and more profit, but see, we don't want to have to pay any taxes and so forth. Some of the byproducts of this plan that I have is that, now just imagine they'll take resources, send them all the way over to, for example, China, takes gas to take it over there. Then when they get done, they'll take that and send it back to America. Once we start manufacturing those items locally, we'll use less gas. That should drive the cost of gasoline down. Okay? The other thing, by people being able to pay their taxes, that'll begin to reduce that the deficit. Okay? And then it'll just be a better thing. So that's my plan. If you think it's a good plan, I'd like you to just share it with any of your friends or any of your neighbors or your people on Facebook or whatever. Thank you. This is Robert Davis. That's my $100 trillion plan. Thank you. That's it.